By 1775, the British Empire was a global titan. It owned the seas, the banks, and the most feared professional infantry on the planet. But history isn't written by empires. It's written by those who refuse to be ruled. Today, the Battlefield Gazette investigates the 5 catastrophic blunders that shattered the king's grip on the New World and paved the way for the birth of a superpower. Blunder number 1, the Charlestown Peninsula. In June 1775, the British had the Americans trapped on a hill. General Thomas Gage had the Royal Navy at his back. He could have simply sailed behind the rebels and cut off their retreat. Instead, he chose a frontal assault. He wanted to show the world that peasant farmers couldn't stand against the king's finest.
We shall not retreat. We shall march directly at them in proper order. These people show a spirit they have never shown before, but they will not stand before the king's steel once we reach the top.
It was a slaughter. We tumbled over our own dead just to reach the trenches. They didn't run. They waited until they saw the whites of our eyes. And then they opened the gates of hell.
Blunder number 2, the strategic disconnect. In 1777, the Crown launched a plan to end the rebellion forever. General John Burgoyne was to march south from Canada and meet General Howe coming north from New York City. They would slice the colonies in two at the Hudson River. It was a perfect plan on paper, but a death sentence in reality. While Burgoyne marched into the wilderness, Howe decided to abandon the plan entirely to capture Philadelphia.
I have little doubt of forcing my way to Albany. We shall have our victory and be home for the winter social season. My only concern is the champagne.
They brought 30 wagons of personal luggage, fine china and champagne, into a forest that didn't care about their titles. We didn't have to fight them in the open. We just felled the trees, burned the bridges, and let the wilderness swallow them whole. By the time they reached Saratoga, they weren't a world-class army anymore. They were just prey.
On October 17, 1777, General Burgoyne surrendered his entire command. 6,000 redcoats laid down their arms, and the world realized the British could actually lose. Blunder number 3, fighting a ghost. The British became obsessed with capturing cities, Philadelphia, New York, Newport. But America was too vast to be conquered by occupying a few docks. Washington knew it. He turned the Continental Army into a shadow, a force that lived in the gaps where the British couldn't reach.
They criticize my tactics from London, yet they provide neither the men nor the supplies needed to win this wretched war. It is an absolute disgrace.
We don't need to beat them in a fair fight. We just need to make sure they never feel safe. Every time they march out to find us, we vanish. Every time they sleep, we're in the tree line. We aren't winning territory. We're winning time.
Blunder number 4, the Southern Quagmire. Starved for a decisive win, the British turned south, betting everything on a loyalist uprising that never materialized. What they found instead was a hornet's nest. For every mile Cornwallis marched into the interior, his army grew weaker, bled by 1,000 cuts from ghosts in the swamps.
They come with their heavy wool coats and their brass bands melting in the July sun. We don't fight them in the fields, we take them in the swamps where the heat is a weapon and the mud is our ally. By the time they see us, we're already gone back into the moss.
This is not a war, it is a butcher's shop. I am losing my army one fever at a time.
The 5th and final blunder, the Yorktown trap. Cornwallis backed his army onto a tiny strip of land, betting his life that the Royal Navy would rescue him. But for the first time in a century, the British lost control of the sea. The horizon didn't show the Union Jack, it showed the white flags of revolutionary France.
We had them pinned. Day and night our cannons screamed. We could see them through our spyglasses huddled behind their earthworks, looking at the ocean for a rescue that was never coming. The hunters had finally become the huddled prey.
Defeat. After all this time, we are truly defeated.
This has been an American 250th Anniversary Special from the Battlefield Gazette. If you value these untold stories of our shared history, please subscribe and join us as we chronicle the birth of a nation.